Hello and welcome to this video where we're going to talk about building an indestructible mind. A mind of steel. A mind that actually has you transitioning from being a boy, weak, soft, scared, to actually being certain. To being a man that your wife can rely on, your children can feel protected with, your employees can feel like, man, I'm backing that horse, I'm backing that guy's my guy. Your clients feel certain with. The haters, no matter what they say, you actually are okay, you're at peace. How do you build this indestructible mind? Inside of my first video, I actually covered this idea of being composed and that every man needs to become composed. This idea of not losing your shit is one of the most critical things. This idea of being calm, collected, and cool under any situation is such a great skill that I believe can be worked on. But in this video, I want to talk about your perception and your perspective. Each and every one of us has a different perspective on how the world operates. A lot of different people can have different perspectives that, there's the glass is half full or the glass is half empty. And if you're a person that thinks the glass is half full, or you start to go, oh, the glass is half empty person, that person is just a scared, they see the world really dark and grey. And then the person that sees the world as half his glass empty looks at the person looking at their world half as glass full, they start to go, fuck, that person's a bit naive, they're stupid, they're going to get run over. And so you can imagine these two people with these different worldviews. Based upon the same world, the world doesn't actually change, but their perception of the world. One looks at the world going, hey, it's a bright future, I can trust everybody. The other person's like, no, I'm going to just be scarce and everybody's out there to get me and I have to hang on to my money really tight and I can't trust anybody. These two people have a completely different experience of the world, even though the world's the same. And so what I'm here to share with you is that how you fertilize your mind will allow you to become the person that you want to be. Do you want to become a person that's negative? Do you want to become a person that's cynical? Do you want to become a person that's constantly bitching and worrying all the time? Do you want to become a person that is not trusting of anybody? Or do you want to become a person that's calm, cool, collected, trusting, and composed under pressure? Well, if that's the case, then you also have to be able to feed your mind the right fertilizer and the right perspective in order to get to the right outcome. Here, you can no longer think of the world. If you want to become that man that's composed, cool, calm, collected, but here you're scared and you're frightened and you think everyone's out there to take advantage of you and you're not willing to take risks and you don't trust anybody, there's no way you're going to actually make that leap. What you feed your mind, the fertilizer that you feed your mind, you have to understand that there, at some level, you have to begin to change that operating system. Now, that operating system is hard to change because the operating system from you and me was embedded in us as kids, as children. When it first came out, that operating system is passed on. It is genetics that is passed on from your parents to you, not through your genes, also partly through your genes. I don't know the scientific research, but what I do know is the emotional response, the emotional embodiment that you feel when back in the days you did something wrong and your dad cracked the shits. And so for that very moment in time, when you have kids in the future, right, or if you have kids right now and they take on that same reaction, you will feel that rage inside of you come up from that very same response that you saw your dad take out on you. You will now become the dad that takes it out on your kids. And what I'm trying to share with you right now is that in order to change the future, you actually have to assess the past to be able to actually ask yourself, did everything now I'm currently embodying inside of my body, my emotions, the hidden emotions inside of your brain, and they're just going to go off because they're memories that are tied to emotional situations that you had as a kid, as a child, the people that you looked up to. Okay, these people were your guardians. These people were your gods. They were your parents. They were almighty. They were like your biggest saviors. And their responses, generally you adopted without even knowing. What happens is when you grow up, you'll pass those on, whether it is to your team members, whether it is to your wife. The same response that your dad gave to your mum when she did something clumsy is the exact same response that you will give to your wife if she does some shit clumsy as well. Now, the reality is you were just a witness as a kid. And now you've actually adopted that behavior to be true. Why is that? You knew as a kid that felt wrong. You probably were like, hey, stop screaming at mum. That's not good. But yet as an adult, you actually embody that behavior. Why? Because in order to get through life, humans the biggest copying machines ever. We copy each other. We copy behaviors so that's how we learn. That's how we develop through life. And as a kid, you copied certain behaviors from people that you may not even aware. They could be teachers, they could be your parents, they could be your auntie, they could be your uncle, they could just be things that you were actually adopted, and you're not even aware that they're adopted until that situation plays out. And so I'm here to share this with you, that if you want a mind of steel, you have to go back to the past. You have to become aware of the past, of what you learned, what you fertilize your mind with. Who are the people around you, not even the past, but also the present, the people around you currently now that have these patterns that they aren't even aware, and they just spit it out. And you'll talk to people. This is crazy. You'll talk to people and they'll just say random shit, and you go, what the hell? Who thinks that? Do you really think that? And you can notice that they're just like copying shit that they heard from somebody else, without even any awareness, without any perception, without any like real tapping around that idea, to actually like knocking it around and playing devil's advocate, playing both sides to assess the situation and being, hey, like being fair, being both positive, negative, looking at all sides of the angles, rather they'll just adopt this belief. So inside of this video, we're talking about how to build a mind of steel. First video was about composure, being able to understand your triggers. But this video is actually understanding, well, where do the triggers come from? Why do you feel like you're walking around? Why do your family feel like they're walking around on an eggshell, and there are landmines that are just going to explode? And these are things that happened to you in the past. And the funniest part is, in the past, you were just the observer. You were the observer of these emotional outbursts, these emotional bombs that you embodied, and now they're coming back. And you're just expressing them because in that moment, you just don't know what to do. In that moment, that feeling comes up and it's just that trigger. It's like your wife does something, you have a trigger. Why is that? Why do you get triggered at your wife for a certain thing? Why is it that some men don't get triggered, and why do you get triggered? Why does your wife have to say, hey, relax? She doesn't understand why you're getting so upset about something. Well, it's because that same thing you saw once upon a time, either your dad do that same thing to your mum, and he actually would have seen that from his dad do that to his mum. And it's so passed on generationally through this idea of just copying and pasting. And so bringing it back here is, do you understand everything that you've seen in the past? And can you actually just break down your triggers? And can you understand the people that are coming in, what you're feeding your mind? And you're listening to your parents, your siblings, your cousins, or whoever, who have the best of intentions. They have the best of intentions, but they are just not giving you the right fertilizer to feed your mind. They're feeding it with more gossip, with more drama, with more chaos, without any positivity. They're looking at you being cynical. And they have the best of intentions. Inside of their mind, because they look through the worldview of, man, the glass is half empty, they're looking at it from the world is scary, and they're the best of intentions. They're trying to protect you, which is their way of showing you that they're trying to protect you, yet it is actually just trying to impart their worldview onto you, which is actually, funnily enough, going to hold you back. It's not going to let you move forward. What about your friends? What about the people that you hang out with? Are they still holding on to it? Are you listening to what they're saying? Are you listening to the gossip, the drama, the judgment from them? And is that holding you back? And are you not allowing yourself to move forward because of what they're actually feeling in here? The fuel, the fertilizer that they're pouring into here. They might be gossiping about some person. They're like, oh, look at that guy. He's doing this content now. Who do you think he is? Ha ha ha. Then you laugh. And then the moment you think about putting content, you're thinking about that very same thing. And that actually holds you back because in that laughing moment, you're like, oh my God, what are they going to think about me? And so quite often, what I've learnt about judgment is that judgment doesn't have any effect on anybody except myself. Like if I negatively judge somebody, it actually stops myself from doing that same thing at some level in time. I create little rules for myself. And then if I create thousands of rules, I end up not doing anything. And so what you're going to notice in life, there's a pattern. I've started to recognize that the people that are most judgmental don't end up doing anything because they're so afraid of being judged. They're so judgmental that they've created all of these rules, all these boxes. With every judge, there's a line, there's a box, there's a box, there's a block, there's a block, there's a block, there's a block. And then ultimately they can't move anywhere because they've just judged everyone and then they've just checkmated themselves. And so the thought here is, can you feed your mind with positive shit? Can you ask yourself situations, what would the 1% man do? What would the 1%, the man that needs to take the high road in this situation, would he take this road or would he take this road? I guarantee you, when I met Kerry and I grew up going, the world is kind of like half empty. The glass is half empty. And Kerry was actually like, the glass is half full. And I was like, Kerry, you're naive. I'm talking from experience here, my friend. I'm like, Kerry, you're so naive. The glass is not half full. It's empty. You're going to get screwed out there, right? I'm coming from my family history and into hers. And she's like, Lynn, look, at the end of the day, I want to live my life. I want to have a full life. At the end of the day, if I'm wrong, I'm wrong, but at least I enjoyed my life. And the moment she said that, it kind of like clicked for me. I'm like, right. And she also said something. She also said, look around you, Lynn. How many people in the world think that their glass is half full versus glass is half empty? 1% of the world will actually think like I think right now. Do you really want to be a part of the 99% or do you want to be part of the 1%? And the moment she said that, I don't know if she did that exact thing, but I may be paraphrasing. But the moment she said that, I was like, of course I want to be part of the 1%. I'm not normal. The moment she said that, the fastest way is to go, hey, Lynn, do you want to do what everyone does or do you want to do what they're like the crazy people do? And so it's something that I want to bring over to you. It's like, if you're ever in the side of the masses, if you're ever in the side of like the 90% of people and you agree with them, then you have to really think about the idea that you're agreeing with, because the 90% of people in this world are not awake. They're not conscious. They don't try hard. They want to get things easily. They don't want to do any work. They want things for free. They want to put in zero effort, and they want to have everything for absolutely nothing. And so if you're agreeing with those people, it's good to stop and reflect and ask yourself this question. Are you on the right side or the wrong side? And so I'm going to leave you with that. What are you fertilizing your mind with? And what has your mind been fertilized with in the past? And who, right now in the present, are you surrounded by that fertilizes your mind? And is it helping you to get to the future self? Comment below, let me know. And with that being said, thank you so much for listening. If you like this video, please like, share it, subscribe. It would help out the channel a lot. And I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye for now.